I don't know if I've ever seen The Fox and the Hound.
Really?
I probably have, like when I was really, really young, because I remember not liking it. But I was
It's
also
a
very, very young.
it's a mood piece for sure.
Yeah, it's a very slow burn.
Very much a slow burn, just like a podcast where the co-host is like half asleep. Greetings, fellow armchair imagineers. Tiki here.
And not Tiki.
All right. So, Jokers, we're talking about 6 different dark rides.
Yes, we
What's up,
are.
Wolf? I'm tired. That's what's up. I was up until 5 in the morning, so I was up, and now me being tired is what's up. Hope
What's
that
up?
adequately answered your question.
What's up, bititches? There's that French bitiche.
Bidiche.
It's good.
All right, Evan, set this all up, man.
Okay, we're gonna be talking about 6 dark rides. Thanks for coming. So first, we're gonna talk about, what was it, Project 8?
Peregrine, we're technically early. Yes, this is Project.
Project 8.
I believe we're on 9 now, so this would be Project 7, I think.
What? No, it should be Project 8.
Oh, we're such good hosts. You want to fact check it?
Yeah, I am right now. Yeah, it's Project 8. What are you talking about? We're at Project 9, so it's Project 7.
Yeah, we're at Project 9 for, not Scary Farm is Project 9, right?
Yeah. So the project that we're talking about now is Project 8. This is 7. What? What was Project 8? Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot. Yeah, Project 7. I'm so sorry. I just woke up like 40 minutes ago.
Oh, same, sir.
The difference is that it's morning for me.
Oh, God. All right.
Okay. So yeah, this was the Cartoon Network project. I thought that the whole thing was really cool. I know that we had some issues figuring out the third IP to force you guys to do. And I kind of lobbied for Adventure Time because I thought that it was more well known than it apparently is. I was very surprised that none of you guys knew Adventure Time that well because of how popular it was.
I mean, I would assume there'd be at least one person who's like, "Oh yeah, I know Adventure
exactly.
Time. I can take the reins on this."
Honestly, I was really surprised that no one had even seen an episode. This was on the air for like 7-ish years, 8 years. It was on the air for a while. It was stupid popular for a while too, so I was very surprised.
Yeah.
But you guys still did a pretty good job with trying. And
I'm still vouching for Rick and Morty myself.
Yeah, I still don't think it would have fit this project. Because I even though they didn't know Adventure Time, I think Adventure Time fits the vibe of the project, and it fits the vibe of the other 2 IPs as well. But that's my thing. But yeah, let's get into it.
I don't have any strong opinions about the Adventure Time one, just because I don't really feel like the people involved had strong opinions about it either.
Yeah, I'm like a pretty big fan of Adventure Time, or I was when it was airing. I still watch it every once in a while. I think my biggest issue with this was the writing style and the story itself. Like we said in our reviews, the writing style, I don't know if it's because you guys all wrote it differently, but it changed tense a lot. And like I like what you guys were trying by making it feel like a report blog. But it kept changing tense, and it was kind of jarring and a little bit hard to follow at times because of that.
Yeah, I appreciated the ambition of the blog, but I didn't really think it came together all that well, unfortunately.
Yeah. And for the story, my biggest issue is that in the pre-show, we meet the Lich. So, we know he's there. And then we go to Finn and Jake's house, and they know that the guests are cursed, which is something the Lich did. And then they see green smoke, which is something the Lich does. And then they say, "Oh, it must be the Ice King. Let's go see the Ice King." And it just the story just didn't really make sense to me when it kind of set itself up at the beginning, and they should know who the villain was. I know I feel weird nitpicking it like a ride, but the story just didn't make sense to me.
Like it should have maybe been a little bit more low key and focused on the Ice King more.
I agree. You didn't need the Lich.
And I feel like they got close to focusing on the Ice King, and I feel like the Ice King is a character that, honestly, he could maybe, like, I don't want to say he could carry his own ride, but I feel like he could be a big centerpiece of an attraction.
Yeah, like I think the attraction that you guys made was a little too like a little too lighthearted for a Lich attraction.
Yeah.
Like the Lich is such a big character, and he's literally like an embodiment of evil and literally the embodiment of nuclear warfare in Adventure Time. And I just thought he was kind of misused when you guys very easily could have focused it around the Ice King. And I think it would have been a little bit stronger, especially story-wise, if you focused around the Ice King. But that being said, a lot of the writing really fit, like the character writing fit really well. And I wish there was more of it because it kind of dropped off a little bit as the ride went on. But in the queue, like the second queue, I guess you could call it, the writing was really good and it really made sense with the characters. Oh, the other thing, I know Tiki liked the ride vehicle, but I kind of wish he made it a little bit more industrial and had BMO on the ride vehicle with you guys. I feel like that could have been like
what the ride vehicle was?
It was Lumpy Space Princess.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I just think I feel like they could do some fun self-parody stuff with that. I feel like they could do some fun audio with that.
No, that's fair. I like the visual. I just think with all that setup of Finn and Jake's treehouse, I think it would have been a lot more fun to have Bebo piloting the ride vehicle and kind of hosting as the ride goes.
Oh, I like the idea of an onboard Bebo animatronic.
Yeah, I feel like that would make a lot of sense for a ride like that, or even a different Mo. There's a ton of stuff you could do with that. But that's just me. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good for knowing that you guys had never seen an episode.
It was an unfortunate kind of outcome for the, for having to pick the projects.
Yeah, which happens every once in a while. I was just surprised that it was Adventure Time of all three. That was
of all three, you're right? Because I agree. For me, I think the other two, when I think of them, they're significantly more obscure.
I thought Infinity Train was going to be the one, but to their credit, they actually watched it. Which Adventure Time it's long, but it's surprisingly accessible. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Right.
Cool. Now let's pull up the other ones. Let's do... Which one do you want to do? Infinity Train or Over the Garden Wall?
Let's do Over the Garden Wall next, and then Infinity Train's the one that won. So
yeah, let me find out. There it is. Cool. Here we have Over the Garden Wall. Any opening thoughts about this bad boy?
I think presentation-wise, it's really great.
Yeah.
I'm an old man, so it's hard for me to read the text without zooming in.
30's not old. But, okay. I was kind of worried when you guys were talking about an autumn park, and I'm very glad that was only 2 pages because I feel
like they've heard enough of this, but this would have fit in way better is something that's just part of a regular theme park. I feel like they kind of flew too close to the sun when it comes to the making it in Salem and kind of having a historical tie to it. I don't know. That didn't land for me.
I really like the idea behind it, but I also grew up going to New England. I basically grew up in New England. But like I said in my review, I think it would have made more sense if you moved it a little inland where there's more room. Closer to the Berkshires, close to the New York border. I think it would have, like, you could still have that distinctly New England
Right,
vibe,
right.
but there would be
yeah.
actual room to build the park, where, like, the area around Salem is pretty dense because it's pretty close to Boston.
Uh-huh.
For Tiki, because he's never been.
No, I have not.
Also, they changed the Witch Museum, and it's terrible now, and I hate it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's not the show that it used to be. It used to be like a really weird, like 25, 30-minute show, with like animatronics and like lighting effects and stuff, and like a weird like theater of the round where you were sitting in the middle and they were all like surrounding you.
Uh-huh.
And they changed it, and I don't remember how, but it's dumb. No, Pergron, Salem makes a ton of sense. There just isn't room for it. Room that I know of, at least. Like maybe somewhere near like Rockport or Burlington, maybe. But I don't know. If you really want to keep it coastal. But I definitely appreciate it for like the Halloween vibe. So just really just Hubie Halloween the park.
God. Don't give me any ideas.
You stop that. But no, I really like the ride. I liked what you guys added. I thought some of it was a little bit redundant, like the skinless witch, and then we have the Lorna scene later. Like I kind of thought that the skinless witch was supposed to replace Lorna, and then Lorna still showed up later and specifically said that it was a similar effect. So it was basically two of the same scene. But other than that, like I really liked it. I thought you caught the vibe of the show really, really well. I really liked the focus on the music. That was kind of like what I was looking for. Was the music, because it's just so important to the show.
I mean, if I had one nitpick here, I'd say that I don't think there's as much new ideas at play as there is with the Infinity Train project.
That's fair.
But it is a very solid kind of like, it absolutely captures all the vibes of the show very well.
Yeah, and that's something they talked about a lot, was how they didn't want to do a book report, but with the nature of the show, they kind of had to. Which, I mean...
Yeah, right, and I mean...
You can explore...
I feel like Over the Garden Wall and Infinity Train have very, very similar kind of like thematic ways to tell the story, where like they're both about these kind of like lost people that go into a fantasy world to figure their shit out, essentially.
Yeah. Like you can explore the world more deeply and show more new stuff without specifically having to follow Wirt and Greg. But I think what you guys did made a lot of sense, and I think it was done really well. But I don't think it had to be as much of a book report as you thought it did.
And let us have a moment of silence for our dearly departed monkey, who has now been Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It was kind of a self-imposed Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I don't know. I feel like if you would have been working with like maybe Adventure Time, maybe like I don't know. I feel like he landed on the worst one for him personally.
I'm really surprised he didn't like it, but I mean, no, I'm not. I'm sort of surprised he didn't like it.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a super solid presentation. I think it's definitely got a really interesting presentation style, but unfortunately, the presentation style is going to get blown out of the water by the next one.
Yeah,
that kind of sometimes happens, right? It's like you're like, and believe me, guys, I've been there many times myself. Like especially in something like Sorcerer's Apprentice, where I'll have like, me, I'm more of a writing guy. I'm, with my projects, I focus way more on the writing part of it than the presentation part.
No, I do.
And
I do the
so
same.
when someone like, like for example, in the season I got second place, Doug was always one step ahead of me with his concept art. It's like, okay, like I'm doing as well as I can, but there's no way I'm going to beat this guy.
Yeah, that's why I usually try to judge it like more fairly. Unless it's like a really special presentation.
If it's like game-breaking presentation.
Yeah, I really like this one. I thought it was done really well. I think this is my favorite of the three. And honestly, the only real reason that Infinity Train won above in my book was because of the presentation. Because again, it was pretty game changing, as we'll get to right now. Any final thoughts about Over the Garden Wall? Oh, the tavern was good. I like the tavern.
Yeah. I think I've said my piece on it.
Yeah. Also, one thing I totally forgot. I like that you actually get robbed by the highwayman. Um, I think that's a really how the highwayman actually robs you on the ride. I think that was a really cool scene.
Yeah.
So yeah. And next we have Infinity Train.
All right, Infinity Train. Let's pull that bad boy up.
Boop, boop, boop. There she is. Wow, here it is.
Oh my god. Okay, first things first. Obviously, it'd be kind of repetitive at this point to go on about how good the presentation style is, right?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the good folks about the presentation style? Maybe people who might not be following the game but are looking at this video out of curiosity.
Yeah, basically they made like an interactive game out of this. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. And if I'm being totally honest, I couldn't get it to work for me, but everyone else seemed to get it to work, so I didn't really say anything about that.
I don't think it works perfectly.
No, it doesn't work.
But I think the very it's not like it would be like a professional website, like you wouldn't put this out as like a promotional thing, or it's not 100% there as far as functionality goes, but it works enough for me to get the idea of what they're trying to do.
Mm.
And the reason I like this so much is that I really, really love how they elevated the shooter dark ride.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool idea, and I really like the multiple tracks you can take depending on your
Which, of course,
performance.
I feel like is maybe like a mandate for something like Infinity Train, is kind of having alternate paths.
No, I agree. Yeah, it was done really well. Again, like Adventure Time, my biggest problem I think was the story. I like the new characters.
I'm like halfway on the story because I don't think it's as unique as it could be, but man, with Adventure Time, or I'm sorry, with Infinity Train, they've just got some banger stories out there already.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
to top what's already out there.
My thing is that the character that they introduced, they didn't need. This very easily could have just
guest was essentially in the place of that character to begin with.
Yeah, but again, that just makes the character pointless.
No, I hear you. I'm just understanding your thought process.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you didn't need that character. It could have been like a more personalized experience to the guest, I think. I also, it's a total minor nitpick. I didn't really like the lake scene. I think that should have been 1-1 instead, like how they do it on the show to introduce the concept of the Infinity Train. But that doesn't really matter. I like the characters. I just don't think they really needed to be there.
Yeah. When I say elevate the shooter dark ride, I just mean in terms of obviously the branching paths being one thing. I also really like that there's multiple different objectives per screen. It's not just shooting things to get the high score. It's genuinely interacting with the environment, which is honestly one of the few things that I can take away from what I've seen of Web Slingers, where I'm like, okay, Web Slingers is probably a high score ride at the heart of it, but it seems like there's a lot of interesting kind of interactive shit you can do with it outside of just the shooting aspect.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think this ride was done really well. But the big thing was, for me at least, was the presentation.
Yeah, the presentation was just super ambitious, and like I said, I don't think it's all the way there as far as functionality goes.
Oh no, it's a really cool step though.
Yeah. I would say it's probably the most ambitious thing we've seen so far this season as far as presentation goes.
Yeah, probably I would say so.
Yeah.
It was really good. Oh, also, a few of the cars were a little samey, which is fine, but That's my only real other critique.
I mean, I literally have that exact same complaint about like general Infinity Train seasons.
Oh, that's fair. See, it was a callback. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I think this and Over the Garden Wall were equally strong, but the presentation for this one was really, really great.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts? Or are we moving on to Project 8?
Along here.
Okay. Next, we have Project 8.
All right. Would you like to explain this project to everyone who might be watching for the first time, kind of following along?
No, I'm good.
Please.
Okay, Project 8. Oh, it's not even from Dumbo. It's just Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that's wrong. Like, I don't mind the DeVido, but I do mind not having the from Dumbo.
Yeah, Mickey Nerd, you're on thin ice. Yeah, so they had to take so basically they had to build 3 Fantasyland dark rides for 1971. So like opening day, Disney World Fantasyland, based off of the moods of the original attractions that actually opened. So they had to make one dark ride that was scary, one dark ride that was wacky, and then one dark ride that was beautiful. And they did. Thanks for coming out, guys. This has been
it's been nice. All right.
So Danny DeVito. I don't know what DeVito means.
Don't Google it. Jesus
I am.
Christ.
DeVito. Oops. DeVito. That doesn't mean anything. Translate from Portuguese. In Portuguese, it means do. Like their projects are due on Saturday. Your projects are DeVito this Saturday.
God. All right.
Anyway, the first one from Sub-Team Wacky is the Wild Dalmatian Escape.
Do you mind if we kind of like talk about these 3 sort of more as a group unit?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if you want to talk about the
kind of like just jump around a little bit more. Can we get a close up on Danny DeVito's glorious face and the logo?
Fine, give me a sec. Do you want the bad DeVito or the good DeVito?
Whatever.
So I have the clip art one that I made.
No. Well, hey, the clip art one's fine.
Wait, give me a sec. Oops, wrong one. Okay. I have a screen share for you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I like about the overall approach here, and I said this on my feedback, is that I really appreciated how this project could have very easily been essentially reskins of familiar dark rides. And you guys didn't do that. And instead, what you did more so was you kind of took different elements from all of the dark rides, kind of sprinkled them together. And I really thought this came out like very well. Unfortunately, I was not a fan of the Bambi one. I really wasn't. We'll talk about it, but that was kind of a low point. But on the other side of the coin, that Dumbo one just blew me away. Legitimately kind of blew me away. I was, I've kind of been geeking out a little bit about just how dark the original Snow White's Adventures was at Disney World specifically. And that Dumbo ride just absolutely captures that sort of like almost malicious sort of hostile tone that the Snow White dark ride has.
No, totally. I think that Dumbo was a weird choice for scary, but they made it work.
They made it work, though. That's the thing. I agree that it's a weird choice. It would not have been my first choice for scary at all. I don't honestly, as a kid, even I don't associate much with Dumbo as being scary.
No, not even. I don't even think the pink elephants are scary.
I don't think the pink elephants are scary either. They've always been very much just in the cool the cool territory for me.
Yeah.
Um,
The arbiters of cool, those pink elephants.
You're damn straight.
That's what I based all of my my personality in high school off of.
Oh, I hate to say it, but like I don't know if there's part of that sentence that's
Oh no. Really?
Well, it's like, just kind of generally speaking, just like, oh, the mature animator.
No, that's fair. They really
Yeah, and
dress
then
up as-
something like Baby Mine, it really, like, that stuff didn't really impact me until later in life when I realized, like, the context of it. When I was a kid, I was just like, oh, okay, she's just singing to Dumbo. All right, it's okay. He's singing, he's seeing his mom. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, Dumbo. I just think that the ride itself, the one nitpick I have isn't even really much of a nitpick because I feel like they get enough in there to sell it, but I do wish they did a little bit more with the flying dynamic.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's something that I think Peter Pan was so unique because it's such a natural fit to the flying. So I kind of understand the.
Whereas with Dumbo, it's
trouble.
not really as natural of a fit because people forget that Dumbo flies very, very, very rarely in his original movie.
He flies for like a minute, if that.
Right. It's pretty much like the climax of the whole film.
Yeah. And then we get the racist crows.
Oh God! But what do you think of like just kind of like the harsh atmosphere setup? One of my favorite just passages here was the opening transition where you're in the elephant cages, the elephant enclosure, and there's these like nasty ass like matriarch bitch elephants that are just staring you down. But you're also hearing Baby Mine kind of faintly playing, like that just really captured my imagination.
Yeah, it's a really strong opening.
Yeah,
it kind of reminds me of like Pinocchio.
Right. A lot of this does kind of have a Pinocchio vibe to me. It's almost as if it kind of reminds me of like, what if Pinocchio had Stromboli as with as much of a presence as the Wicked Witch was on Snow White?
Yeah, like what if Stromboli sang "Baby Mine" in the Pinocchio the movie?
But no, I do like the creative liberties taken with the Ringmaster because I don't know if you got this vibe, but I never got the Ringmaster being like a bad guy per se. Like my childhood nostalgia for the Ringmaster is always like the Casey Jr. circus train, like, well, as they say, that's the end of the lion.
I mean, I think most of the humans in Dumbo are meant to be kind of gray, if not a little bit closer to dark.
So
like
I
get
ratchet up this guy's villain status though.
Which makes sense, especially if it's from Dumbo's perspective.
Sure.
Yeah. No.
But I like that. I like that it's like a creative liberty. Like you don't really see that guy as like menacing in the film. He's more so kind of an apathetic jerk, if anything else.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But yeah, I mean, really, in this ride, it's great that he just kind of takes center stage.
Center ring, you could say. Because it's a circus.
But yeah, everything flew together really well. I think the flying scene over the circus is good. I think the burning building is good.
Yeah.
The pink elephants, honestly, I could have used a little bit more detail on that, but it's fine.
Yeah. I'm sure that's hard to write.
Yeah.
It's such an abstract scene.
Sure.
Or you could just copy and paste the Heffalumps and Woozle scene from Winnie the Pooh and change.
All right, so let's talk Bambi, because that was the one that really disappointed
Yeah, I thought it was okay. So, preface, I do not like Bambi, the movie.
I don't like Bambi either, but I do acknowledge it as a work of art.
Oh no, it's very pretty.
Like a genuine work of it's like one of those movies that like belongs in an art museum.
Yeah, and nowhere else.
And so because of that, I feel like it was a really good pick to be in the beautiful category.
Mm.
I just feel like they did not focus on the elements of Bambi that they should have focused on.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by how story-driven the ride was.
I mean, it was like the most story driven out of the three.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Bambi's hard, so like I get it, but I think it should have been a little bit more abstract. Because I really like I really like how you guys went through the seasons, and it kind of reminded me of Winnie the Pooh in that aspect, where it's going to similar scenes that are constantly changing. But I don't think it really needed to follow the story.
Yeah, and when I was reading it, I hate to say it, but like I feel like the cardinal sin when I'm reading a Dark Ride project is when it just starts to feel like I'm reading a synopsis of the movie. And did you get that?
Yeah.
And so that was a shame. I don't know. I just with Bambi, like one of the things with Bambi that blows my mind to this day, just from an artistic point of view, is that opening multiplane shot. Just it's so dense. There's so much going on there. It is it's as mind-blowing as any sort of like modern day one take sort of like shot from a modern action movie or something. Like there is so much artistry at play in that big pan across the forest right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then I mean I absolutely think that the film, it's a really boring film, but it's basically the Disney equivalent to going to an art museum.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think Fantasia's more that, but yeah.
Fantasia is the Disney equivalent to going to a concert symphony.
That's the other thing. I'm kind of surprised you guys didn't go with Fantasia. I know you were talking about it a lot, and I think that Bambi was a more unique
Bambi
choice.
was a more original choice at the very least. I feel like Fantasia is something that it's been kind of dived into the well a bit.
Yeah, I can't think of any other beautiful movies that they could have done. Maybe Sleeping Beauty, maybe.
No, that was the original. That was
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
That was going to be the original scary
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. I can't think of any other movies that
like maybe Lady and the Tramp.
That Lady and the Tramp could have worked. I wouldn't really call it aesthetically beautiful. Just yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, Fantasia for the scary ride. That would have been interesting.
They were talking about that. I don't think it would have worked personally. Because there's too little to draw from Night on Bald Mountain.
Well, you don't necessarily like you have Night on Bald Mountain, you have the T-Rex, you have
yeah, but then it's thematically inconsistent. Like you can't really go from Rite of Spring.
Inconsistent.
Well, no, I mean you can't really go from. Don't you dare Doug Walker me. You can't go from like
Doug Walker you.
You sounded like Doug Walker. You went a little high.
I Rocket Raccooned you.
Oh, I haven't been on that. The last time I went,
you didn't know about that line?
I haven't seen that in a very long time.
It's like the doors open and you see the Matterhorn and Rocket's like, Disneyland?
Yeah,
that's thematically inconsistent.
No, now that you said that, I know what you're talking about. But when I went on it, it was Twilight Zone and it was terrible.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Guardians is way better than the Twilight Zone that we had.
I know, I'd love to go on it. But fuck. Yeah, I don't really think it would have. Like,
wait, wasn't the last time you were there like when they were like in the middle of shutting it down?
It was after they announced it, but it was before they did anything.
Okay.
So it was summer of 2016, so like the facade was still uncovered. But I don't think it really would have worked to go from like Rite of Spring to Night on Bald Mountain. It just kind of would have been jarring.
What if you used both of the Fantasia movies though?
But we were stuck in 1971.
Oh, that's right. Damn.
Yeah. See? I mean, Firebird Night on Bald Mountain possibly could have, because then you could have a fire and then it kind of fades into Night on Bald Mountain. Because the fire creates the bald mountain. It makes the mountain bald, if you will. But I don't know. I don't think it would have been enough for like to warrant its own ride.
No.
Yeah, also, before I forget, because I meant to say during Dumbo, thank you guys for doing proper fucking facades, because Disney can't even do that. I appreciate that.
I appreciate the facades. I appreciate the maps. I appreciate the credits that you guys are giving each other. Overall, yeah, the presentations are going really smooth in that regard.
Yeah. Cinderella could have worked for Beautiful, and that's a good.
It could have, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Saludos Amigos.
honestly, yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's a hard maybe. I think Beautiful was the most difficult one.
I agree. I just think that they had their bases loaded with Bambi. I think Bambi was one of the better choices.
No, I agree. I think Bambi was the best choice. If it wasn't Fantasyland, maybe The Jungle Book, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know about Jungle Book.
Maybe the Aristocats.
No.
That Paul Winchell Chinese cat is pretty beautiful. His word work.
When I think of the Aristocats, I just think of like boring trains.
Oh, I like the Aristocats. I was gonna. Jesus, we're having a conversation, Tiki. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. That was one of my favorites when I was a kid. I think it could have worked. Not necessarily for Beautiful, but I think it could be a good dark ride.
The Rescuers Down Under is beautiful.
I mean, it's also very boring.
All right. Okay, but yeah, with Bambi, like I said, I just really think, I really think that we could have done a lot more abstract.
Yes, yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree.
The Aristocrats 2, boring. The Aristocats 2, that would have been a different movie. The Aristocats 2, boring trains.
Yeah, Edgar's back.
I just think of Phil Harris just sounding bored.
I mean, he sounds bored.
Yeah, I'm getting a paycheck, I guess.
I think that's just him.
I'm basically Baloo, but I'm not as interesting.
I'm Baloo, but on 4 legs. I think that's just his character in any movie.
Guess. All right, and then lastly, we have Cruella, which I really thought was kind of the best of both worlds in some ways. I thought this was a great, almost a potent mix of like the Mr. Toad zaniness with some of the Snow White Scary Adventures jump scares.
Yeah, no, this was the one. I'm really glad that they picked this. I've been wanting to do a 101 Dalmatians ride for Fantasyland for a while.
I think it works a lot better than I was expecting it to, because like I think 101 Dalmatians is like one of the more real world movies of the Walt era for sure. But I think the fantasy element kind of just comes in from just how zany and big scale it all is.
Yeah, like I think it works really well for it works like deceptively well for Fantasyland.
For sure.
Yeah. I know they were talking about Bedknobs and Broomsticks too. That would have been really cool. I don't know what it could have worked with, but I would have liked to have seen that.
Beds would have been an interesting ride vehicle.
You're right. You lay down, and all the scenes are above you, hanging from the ceiling.
Honestly, that sounds kind of cool.
No.
No, honestly, I don't know.
I know. Pergron, it'll happen sometime. I promise. I'm trying to do a Fantasyland project if I can like get myself to write it. There will be Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I promise. But yeah, no, I think this worked out really well. I really enjoyed it. It was probably my favorite of the 3. But I also really like 101 Dalmatians. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say Dumbo is my favorite, but this one was pretty close.
Yeah. Oh, also, Ace's 3D model for Bambi was amazing.
They were really, really great. It was an interesting situation because I feel like outside of the 3D models, I just didn't really see him do much. And just generally speaking throughout the season, it wasn't like he was invisible, far from it. He was contributing, but
yeah.
I don't really think he was in high gear like a lot of the other people were. So
no, he was pretty low key.
But I do think him being eliminated first definitely like set a tone for the post merge, because it's like all of a sudden the guy who almost won 1986 out in 10th place, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I feel like it's still very much anyone's game. Uh, we will see what happens. I don't want to talk about anything that's potentially going down because, you know, I don't want to give away anyone's spot, but there's some interesting stuff on the horizon, to be sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Got some good stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah, I think this project is really good all around the board. Like all three were really great.
I feel like this type of like, you know, like redesign the Fantasyland dark rides. We've done it a few times, and it always works out really well.
Yeah, they're always really fun. I mean, dark rides are fun to do in general, and Fantasyland's pretty unique. So, yeah, it really works out. But yeah, you guys did a great job. I think you guys are doing a great job. I think it's funny that you guys picked knots because Tiki originally wanted to force you guys to do knots.
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you.
I will go ahead and give y'all some advice when it comes to knots. Definitely, you know, obviously the mazes and the scare zones, that's all required stuff, to be sure. But with knots, especially, Knott's Scary Farm, at least in 2019, it was really a park-wide event. Like, they were really going for something special as far as kind of linking everything together, and the whole thing kind of felt like a grand storyline going on of you know, of this witch hunt happening within the park. And so yeah, I would really encourage you guys to think a little bit more large scale in your brainstorming as far as, like, you know, coming up with stuff that could easily be bridged together into a larger whole.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think you guys are getting there, but definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's about it. Thanks to everyone joining us tonight, and I guess we'll see y'all on Sunday, right? That's when we're gonna do the next elimination.
Sure.
Projects are due Saturday, correct?
I think so. I mean, I'll be home anyway, so whatever. I don't care.
Okay. Sunday, folks. See y'all later.
Yeah. Goodbye.